From his early work in teen movies to his rise through the ranks of Hollywood to his career-defining turn as the Joker, today we're counting down the top 10 fascinating facts about Heath Ledger, as voted on by you, the viewer. Welcome to Rankworthy, the show where we rank just about everything. Yes, this is a basic one, but the actor known for such wide-ranging roles as the Joker and Sir Ulrich von Liechtenstein is often mistaken for being British, when in fact he was born in Perth, Western Australia. He lived there until he was in his early 20s when he emigrated to the United States. While in Australia, Ledger appeared in such varied projects as Ship to Shore, Sweat, and the family comedy film Pause. Hollywood quickly pegged Ledger as a heartthrob, but he also had the brains to match. Growing up, he was obsessed with chess, and at age 17, Ledger graduated early from high school and decided to pursue acting full-time. At the age of 10, Ledger won a regional chess championship in Western Australia. He was so enthralled by the game that he even planned to direct and star in an adaptation of The Queen's Gambit, a novel that follows the life of a young chess prodigy as she attempts to cope with addiction. Heath Ledger was one of the defining actors of his generation, but that wasn't enough for him. He wanted to direct. In 2006, Ledger directed the music videos Cause and Effect and Seduction is Evil by the Australian group Neffa. He also directed the videos Black Eyed Dog for Nick Drake, Quicksand for Grace Woodruff, and Rat King for Modest Mouse. Before his passing, he had multiple film projects lined up for himself to direct. As if his passing wasn't tragic enough, knowing that all these untold stories are out there somehow makes it even more disheartening. Brokeback Mountain was one of the films that propelled Ledger into a different stratosphere. Before Brokeback, he was in supporting roles and genre fare like The Order or The Brothers Grimm. Brokeback was the movie that made everyone sit up and take notice of his abilities. His performance in Ang Lee's uncompromising film about love and loss netted Ledger an Oscar. He took the role so seriously he almost broke his nose kissing Jake Gyllenhaal so intensely. The 1997 Australian film Black Rock was directed by Stephen Vidler and written by Nick Enright. It follows a young surfer who witnesses his best friend raping a woman. The next day, when it's discovered that she's been murdered, the protagonist must choose to betray his friend or remain silent. The film features Ledger in a supporting role. It was adapted from the play of the same name, also written by Enright. The title refers to an Australian beachside working-class suburb, which is often frequented by young people and surfers. While Ledger doesn't have a particularly substantial part in the film, he was able to use this credit to get more work as a film actor. After getting steady work in Australia, Ledger made the leap to the US. His first major role was in a little movie called 10 Things I Hate About You. Released in 1999, the film was a loose adaptation of Shakespeare's comedy The Taming of the Shrew. Ledger starred in the film with the likes of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Julia Stiles, and Allison Janney. The film was a fiscal and critical success, cementing both Stiles and Ledger as stars on the rise. Ledger became a heartthrob overnight. The credibility this gave him allowed him to star in bigger and bigger American films. In 2000, Ledger appeared as Mel Gibson's son in the Roland Emmerich film The Patriot. While the film is extremely historically inaccurate, the film was praised for its action set pieces. The Patriot revolves around a man who is reluctantly dragged into the midst of the Revolutionary War after the death of his son. In the film, Ledger gives a solid performance, but the really interesting fact about his role is that he performed all his own stunts. Granted, his screen time is minimal, but that's really him running through those explosions and getting shot at by English muskets. A Knight's Tale became Ledger's calling card. In the 2001 film, which was written, produced, and directed by Brian Hedgeland, Ledger plays a poor boy who masquerades as a knight in order to compete in jousting tournaments. During rehearsals for a key jousting sequence, Hedgeland was unhappy with how the actors were moving, so he got on top of the horse and began rehearsing the scene with Ledger. After a particularly energetic bout, Ledger accidentally missed his mark on Hedgeland's shield and knocked the director's front teeth out. One of the main reasons that Ledger signed on to work on The Dark Knight was that he wanted to collaborate with Christopher Nolan. The two designed the look of the Joker together and discussed the film at length. They got along so well, in fact, that Nolan let Ledger direct the hostage footage that the Joker films. Nolan was so pleased with it that he went on to entrust Ledger with filming several found footage sequences within the film. Many iconic performances have come from people portraying the Clown Prince of Crime. There's Cesar Romero, Mark Hamill, and Jack Nicholson, obviously. However, none of them have come close to the menacing performance delivered by Heath Ledger. And believe it or not, he's the only Joker to have ever won the Oscar for his performance. Unfortunately, as most of you probably know, his commitment and dedication to the role caused him to develop a chronic case of insomnia. He was prescribed sleeping pills in an effort to help him regain some stability. Unfortunately, he overdosed on them shortly after filming on The Dark Knight had wrapped. Since then, his work has been looked back upon with reverence. Ledger's final few performances took him from being a respected actor into being one of the greatest of his generation. Hopefully, new fans will come to his work as time passes, and his legacy will perpetually grow. And on that note, it's time for us to go. Check back next time to find out what else is rank-worthy.